Right, Maui, what's your good point then?
Okay, my good point is a point that I just obviously can't talk about with Kasad on the
Okay. Oh,
call.
I see where
So
we're going here. Okay, right.
because if I do, he's just gonna call me
So you're,
insane.
so you're now using this, like, when you have the group chat within the group chat without the one person, like you can't invite for the night out. Okay, we're doing that. Okay, fair enough.
just just have to exclude him
Sure.
for this kind of discussion so we can have
Okay.
any sort of reasonable back and forth regarding this. I think it's good that HooXi's going to Astralis. Okay, I think it's actually. I think this is.
It's where you can't even do that as a hot take on hot take point. It's quite a good hot take.
It's not even. I don't even. Yeah, I don't even know because I don't even think it's a hot take
know.
to most of the scene at this
True.
point. I don't think this is.
True.
That's why it belongs on this show. I think HooXi is. I know for sure that on one of these shows, Snake and Banter or Hot Take Point Made, that I said something like HooXi should go to Astralis when in
no
like
doubt,
the Cadian in the Cadian HooXi
Yeah.
back and forth. I know for sure I said it, and I'm glad that it's finally happening. Okay, it's a bit removed from when we saw HooXi playing and calling his best CS. I mean, maybe not playing, but definitely calling his best CS. And for him to get an opportunity now, first of all, Astralis is in a point of desperation, so for them to sign him feels like a no-brainer because you obviously needed to shake something up. He's been sitting right there, and I think he's been sitting in free agency. I could be wrong on this, but I mean he's definitely available. And yeah, I think he's been a free agent for a while now. So at least HLTV says no team. So to see him playing again with Yabi, this is a team where I have no doubt he's going to make them look better than Cadian did. Even if he's about a year removed from playing Tier 1 CS. Like the last match that he played was in June of last year. So it's actually going to be about, 11 months or so since his last game. But I just felt like on only 2 maps did I really think Cadian hit the nail on the head, or he really figured out how to mid-round. I think Ancient and Inferno. And I know that HooXi is going to make... I think he's going to make them look good on probably 4 maps, pretty much off the rip. So just glad to see that HooXi's going to be playing again. I actually thought that at one point maybe HooXi was going to have to retire, like if this spot didn't open up. Like it, almost in a way, if Astralis kept actually made the major and kept playing well, he would be over a year on the as a free agent or on the bench. I was kind of worried about him. So even for Astralis, I think this is good, and also just flat out for HooXi, alumni of the show.
What do you think, Debs?
I just think it's hilarious. Like, for me, HooXi was probably the guy to get for a little while for Astralis, I think, or give HooXi a go. Like, basically, since he's been out of G2, if I was Astralis, I would have been thinking about him the whole time. And it's just hilarious that he only gets in the team when it is literally the last option. There is nowhere left for Astralis to turn. You weren't going to be able to rejig to get Cadian back on the AWP so that he had some individual impact. You're not going to change any of the rest of the team, really. Can't remove Device because he's Device. Can't remove Yabi and Stown because of the investment. You're not going to remove Stair because he's probably the best piece, it just consistently over the long term. Do I think it's good? I don't know if you can rescue that Astralis team, man. It feels like they're just cursed at this point. Stown is just going to keep choking playoffs. Yabi's going to be up and down. Device is good, but he's not the same player he was. I think they'll probably look a little bit better than the Cadian iteration, just because I think that iteration did look really bad. Cadian was such a no-impact player, and I think the calling wasn't great. But, yeah, I don't know. I would say that I can agree that they're going to look better than they did under Cadian, but that's because they looked so rough under Cadian for large portions of the time.
I think I'm in a similar boat because this was just one where, to me, I'm almost puzzled for real that they didn't do this move. Just because I feel like if you did it really early on, I think you would have gotten crazy community goodwill. If you notice, right, there's even a subtle point that actually Astralis and the rest of the scene miss, which is you even would have actually gotten this bizarre scenario where, by the way, the same thing would happen with Snacks tomorrow. If there was an appropriate team, I don't know what team it would be, unfortunately, because for him it wouldn't be Astralis. It'd have to be something ridiculous like OG. But if he went and was like IGL, but on a lesser team where there weren't the same stakes and he didn't have Nico and Morrissey and wasn't expected to win, you would actually find that the joke is even someone like Maui would try go out of their way to make a tweet like, but I'm glad to see, he's got another game. Because actually at that point in time, what you almost try to do is show that, like, look, I didn't actually hate this person. I just thought they weren't good enough to be in that analogy G2, or in this case, also G2, the last version. So the problem is, I actually feel like if you ever go back and watch these shows, I think we even did one of them, mate. Like, if you ever go watch those shows when people were talking about that era of G2 and should it be Nexa in the team and should fucking they've kicked JKS and should HooXi be the IGL, that was like the topic for like 6 whole months on shows. There was almost no one, by the way, back then actually had the take that people now think. The joke is only Kassad even has this. Let's be real. It's just because of all the personal beef and the fact that they've actually like made fun of each other on camera and stuff. But aside from that, he would be way more reasonable, because you are right. Like the joke you're making, Maui, is Kassad at this point in time is doing that thing where, like, if a woman's really mad with you, she's like, I wouldn't sleep with you if you were the last man on earth. Like, that's like fucking Kassad's position. Like, he wouldn't accept HooXi's application when everyone else has died in a post-apocalyptic nuclear war and there's only 2 people left in the world. One is Kassad, who's now pretending, after going half mad from radiation sickness, that he's the GM of a team still. He's still trying to, like, actually lend fucking money to Jacob's dead body at this point in time. He's just still going, accepting applications. The only application left is HooXi, also driven mad by wandering in the post-apocalyptic wilderness. All he can do at this point in time is apply for a gig for a team that doesn't exist, in a game that doesn't exist, in a world composed of 2 humans. And the point is, Kassad would still say, I'm sorry, Mr. whatever HooXi's surname is, your application has been denied. We have found a more suitable candidate. P.S. Don't ever fucking talk shit to me in an event. If those cameras were off and I wasn't being paid a king's ransom in the Balkan country, I would fucking whip your ass with this belt. But that's what he wanted to say through those that smile when HooXi was right next to him. By the way, that's the other thing you guys don't know as well. HooXi's just some fucking Danish nerd who should be like carrying a CRT monitor to Copenhagen Games, and he was just stood next to Kassad, an actual guy. You've seen that picture of him that I call the coldest, aka the picture that goes the hardest in CS esports steps, is that picture of Kassad with that AK looking out over that Balkan. It's too on the nose. Like, all of a sudden I understand the entire Balkan conflict of the late 90s. That one picture alone, it really did paint 1,000 words. So anyway, the point is, yes, obviously, aside from Kassad, I actually think almost everyone in the scene's position on HooXi was this. They think it's debatable whether he should be the G2C IGL, but aside from that, he can have his go at any other team. I'm pretty sure everyone else thought, right, can he have a go in Liquid since Cadian's fucking it up? Can we send him to, by the way, Astralis is one of the first ones. If they're kicking out Blame F, let's get this guy in. Because remember, no one was saying back then, bring Cadian over. In fact, a lot of people even thought the device move was dodgy. So to me, I thought that was like a rare example of where everyone outside the team seemed to think it was a slam dunk. Like, you just do this move. And also, by the way, it's just a good, like, narrative change, whether it works or not, to be like, well, we brought in a real IGL. Look, he's just had all this. By the way, they could have even used the angle of, he just won all these prestige events with fucking G2 and he's going to work with all these players. So I agree with you. You've blown that completely, which, by the way, here's why I'm actually a little bit worried. This is why I'm actually a little bit worried, Debs. Because I tell you what that actually makes me think. It doesn't make me think Astralis is just blind. I don't know. Everyone would love them to sign this player. It actually makes me think some of the people in this team might not rate HooXi, and that they did have this floated by. I mean, by the way, it was already implied by, I believe, Roger publicly in an interview, but I got the vibe as well. I'm just going to tell people an obvious angle I hope people have looked at, which is supposedly in League of Legends, the legendary player Faker, who has all the great titles of all time, he played his whole career in one team called T1. And the premise goes, basically, Debs, if you're not from League, he's almost like the coach of that team. Like, he's not officially, someone has the title coach, but basically he probably gets what he wants because it's just his team, bro. You're not ever going to kick him, and you want him to be happy and to, feel like things go. If I had to guess, I'd imagine he has some level of, say, device in fucking Astralis, guys. Like, I don't think they just go, hey, bad news, mate, we've got KD in his IGL now. No, I'm pretty sure they float it by him. Like, look, we're going to bring this move in, Nikolai, what do you think? So that implies to me, I'm sorry, I actually think some of the players in Astralis are actually elitists and think, who the fuck's HooXi? What, that Copenhagen Wolves? Nah, actually, you know what? Maybe forget about that. That's because I think the difference is they are willing to look at KD and who they had all that success with and go, hey, he could be like a big captain who could be. I think, by the way, in a weird way, this is what people don't get. I think star players actually want people who are sort of like firmer hands and big personalities. I think the problem HooXi had, this is what people forget, is he wasn't actually shit at IGLing, guys. His problem was he was a very bad fragger, and it looked like, quite frankly, he got sort of dwarfed by having those giant superstars. It looked like he couldn't say no to the Nikos and the Monsees of the world, basically. And so even though at one point that worked when they were all popping off, it looked like in the latter era when you needed to get more from them, you just couldn't. Like, I actually do think, unironically, Same premise, I'll attach it to that. Spoiler, I think Nico was just the secret IGL when they brought Snacks in, and it worked better than HooXi. I'll just say that right now. I know they had Mobs as well, that's true, HooXi. You did, but in the same way as you fucked over Alexi B, where he didn't have JKS and you did, that's what happened to you, mate. Then they got Mobs and you did it, and you had fucking Nexus instead. We all know the circle of sock that goes with the bullshit roster moves that the IGL gets blamed for in G2. We've all been there, mate. We've all been there. So anyway, to bring it all the way back, yes, I actually agree. I think you make a pretty good point there, mate. Right. Let me think. By the way, is there anything you want to bounce back off on that?
I just said I feel like it's also one of those things for Astralis where if they're like the way they're gonna move forward from this, I feel like I don't know. Like Stown seems hard to rehabilitate. He just does not seem like he's playing at the level that we're used to, and he seems also like he's been one of the guys that just...
Oh, true. Yeah.
Almost like Hunter at the beginning of CS2. He just never really made the switch. Like, there hasn't really been those Stown moments for him that... Like Device and Yabi and Stare actually seem like a good trio. But I just feel like, at this point, Astralis are kind of doubling down on the Stabby signing. That they just have to go through with it because it was so expensive. But... in a weird way, if this goes badly, I feel like Astralis do need to look hard in the mirror and just say, like, okay, Stown is not doing what we signed him to do. We need to move on from this. So I think that's going to be the tough decision for them. And in a weird way, I wish they, even without knowing a single thing regarding how HooXi is going to be as an in-game leader, I hope the next move that they make is actually, if things continue to go south for them, is to just remove Stown and try to get another Danish up-and-comer.
By the way, that's one thing actually, you just reminded me of one thing I didn't say there, which is I also do personally hope, since he literally played with the guy, that he could be the guy who like turns Yabi around again. Because I actually think the difference is Stown's at least put numbers up. Yabi has been so hot and cold the whole time he was in Astralis. It's actually sad, because I do think actually when he joined that heroic team, like that wasn't just like an immediate upgrade, which it was. Like, bro, he himself just played like 1.5 times better than he ever had in his whole career. So I don't know what that is, by the way, because obviously he even had Cadian as his IGL at the time. I know it was a different setup because of heroic, but I thought he never looked as good in Astralis. Like, he's one of the people, in my opinion, was the check stealer. Like, they just arrived, seemingly kicked other people off the team, and then they weren't performing like they used to in heroic. So I that's one of those ones where you just, as Corp, you just hope his old IGL can bring something out of him or recontextualize him, etc. I also do hope as well, by the way, if I think about how what's his name, HooXi used to play in a G2 especially, I could also see this actually opening up the game for Stare a little bit more. Like, hopefully now HooXi will just... One thing I'll always give HooXi credit for is he did try to do the Carrigan thing and just be like the fucking bait all the time and just 24/7 run in and let yourself get killed. Like, this is what people don't get. That's actually one of my criticisms of Snacks. You know, when you, a random fucking caster who remembers how lovely and awesome Snacks was 10 years ago, want to get some free goodwill, so you overhype him killing 2 people in the mid-round on Mirage. Like, he shouldn't even be there, you moron. He should have been the first going in, getting baited up for fucking Malbs, and then he would have just like actually won the round off that instead of just getting like 2 alright kills on someone. So you were like, woo, roll back the fucking years. So look, even though I made it negative to begin with, I actually think like Debs, there's like, essentially you just like missed this boat by about 6 to 9 months. Like, you should have just done this after the fucking player break, basically after the Copenhagen Major. But it's still, I agree with you though, it's still a worthwhile move, Debs. It's like, put it this way, to quote the great Christopher Hitchens, he had a great quote he used to say, which is, America is a country that always does the right thing last of all. Like, his joke was they do everything else, and at the end it's like, well, fuck, I guess we might just like send some troops in and save the innocents. So it's like, you create the whole scenario. But anyway, Astralis has done the same thing. They've done, think about all the moves they've done since they kicked Blame F after that super team began. Even in the short term when they look good, these moves always backfire. They never work out in the long run. And it's actually kind of a fitting epitaph that they never made a single major, or actually even bloody came barely close at all. Like, so I agree. At this point in time, there's nothing left to try, by the way. Like, spoiler, the next thing to try after HooXi comes in is you just blow the whole roster up. And like, it's, by the way, then it gets really sad, because like I said on Twitter, people don't know. It's a blessing they're kicking Cadian now, because I can tell you what the next move is. Thank you, Nikolai, for how many years of, 9 years of, it'll be retirement, mate. Like, that's the other thing, Demps. He's not going to have a 15-year career, bro. Surely he's going to be retired in the next year, especially if you're not going to majors, you're not winning anything. Sam, were you? Even Device has now finally entered that CS royalty territory, bro, where like, we all do it. We all just do the Kenny S. He's back. He's back when he has a great season. We all do, but we all know we're sort of lying to ourselves. You know what I mean? He's not as good looking as he was when we met him. Listen, we still love him. He's going to be our partner for life. But, you know, you can see the wrinkles are setting in. You can see he looks a bit more weathered. You can see that joy in his eyes has gone,
As you do.
Exactly.
I got a last point on Astralis is how many more tries will they get? Particularly with big players with bigger salaries.
Well, remember, they did also say, didn't they also say they did fire the heroic guy who came in as like the...
Oh, yeah, Strauss.
So I guess it's like a new regime too, yeah.
Yeah. But I was just thinking is, like, the financial impact of missing so many majors in a row must be crazy. I think there has been rumblings, I don't know how credible, that they are potentially in some financial trouble, like having missed this major. How many more shots are they going to get with big players? I think you said that the next option is to blow up the roster. They might have to, just financially. Like, say, look, we can't afford big players anymore. We'll have to go down like a, much more modest route with Danish talent.
See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.